Morning, everybody. What's happening? How's everybody doing? It's Saturday morning here. I'm not sure if I can stream tomorrow because I'll have to be in the hospital with Nicholas and probably my wife, his mother, and also Alex. Hey Tom, how you doing? This dengue fever thing it's a crazy virus. And when I say it's crazy, it's like 1 minute, well, not 1 minute, but I mean he'll have a fever of 37.5, and the next half an hour later they come back and he's got a 40 Celsius, which is like a little over 103 degrees. I think it's 103.2. I think that's what it is. But anyway, so he's up and down. He feels really good, and then he feels really weak. And yesterday, his classmates, like 30 of them, came into the class with his teacher and wished him well and brought him fruit, they brought him little cakes, they brought him donuts, they brought him flowers. He was like, and then the teacher told him, well, many of the kids from the classes wanted to come in, but we told them that it's too much. We already have too many people. His own class is too many people, so he felt pretty good about that. But then he was falling asleep while they were there, and as soon as I left, he was out when I left. So it's the first time I've been home in about 4 days. And, all I can say is you don't want to get it. You don't want to get this. We caught it with him earlier than with Alex. And we're watching him go through all the phases, not at home. And it's a little different what's going on with him because he has some kind of a bacterial infection in his blood that I guess the mosquitoes help. I don't know how he phrased it, but the mosquitoes cause a bacterial infection inside the body. And so he's got a few problems, but all in all, he should be well and he should be fine in a few days. We're hoping Tuesday he'll be out, but he'll have missed about a week and a half of school. And the teacher said that the first day he went into the class and said, I don't feel well, but I'm here. And like 10 minutes after he got there, the teacher left or whatever, and he picked a little spot out on the floor in the corner and curled up and just laid there on his books and fell asleep. And then the teacher came back and said, what's the matter? And he must be, I don't know, when you're the parent, you don't know everything about your kids. You may know how they are at home, but you don't know how they are at school and how everybody else views them. So I got a little bit of a picture into how he's viewed, and he's viewed as a very nice kid who's liked by pretty much everybody, which is good. But so they knew he wasn't faking or anything like that, and so they told him, you need to go to the nurse. And the nurse said, listen, what's going on? How do you feel? And she said, I think you need to go home and maybe have your mother take you to the doctor. So he's been in the hospital since last Monday. Alex was out in about 5 days, but so anyway, so I'm still going through that, and if you're in a hospital and you're just sitting there all the time, especially when you're looking at your kid, it's not exactly fun. I hate hospitals with a passion. I've grown to hate them. There's a few things that I hate. One is the CCP. Another is hospitals. And then the last is dentists, but I hate them less than I hate the other two. And like I've been complaining, you know, the nurses got to come in. They got to do what they got to do. They got to take his temperature. They got to took his blood 3 times yesterday in 30 minutes to do something to check the bacteria or whatever and how it's changed in his blood. So when the stream is done, I'll be going over there. His mother will be there. Alex is there. Alex will come back. Yeah, so you know, I'm a little concerned, but I think he'll be all right, and I think everything will be, you know, back to normal in a couple of weeks. Assuming that's the case, then you still have everything else going on in the world, which, you know, I got an article. Well, first of all, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Carl. Thank you, Mr. Carl. Hope you're still finding everything entertaining. I know it's a little bit different in Hong Kong, but you know, I can't always be in the midst of fire, and I don't want to be. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to everybody else who's helped me out, whether it be through the books, through the T-shirts and mugs, or donations, whatever. Appreciate it. You know, and by watching, because it is important. The channel has grown. It hasn't grown so much in subscribers, but it's grown in views and monetarily. You know, every month it's like another 10, 15%. This month I'm thinking it's going to go up about 20%, which is fantastic. I don't know if it's going to continue, but I hope so. You know. Anyway, thank you. So I got a message from Mr. Bilal, a longtime viewer of the channel, and he's talking about the deserted. He sent me an article from The Guardian about the deserted beaches and empty bars in Thailand and how COVID is devastating Thailand's tourist islands. It's not only devastating the islands, it's devastating tourism in general here. And while some people may think, oh, well, you know, ha ha ha, it's about time for all the things thank you. It's about time for all the things that you've done to the foreigners and that kind of thing. Really, all that's just nonsense. We're in this, I hate to say it, but we're in this together. You know, because like I don't want to be lumped in with people generally, you know, because I'm a little snowflake. You know, what started out so innocently, don't worry, you're different than everybody else, you're a little snowflake. And then, you know, then when it comes down to it, if you're a snowflake, it's a bad thing. Now it's a bad thing, you know? I mean, it's like, I'm an individual. You don't have to compare me to a snowflake, but I don't want to be lumped in with everybody else. But, you know, let me tell you something. We are in this all together. And it really pains me to see all the problems going on in the United States. And I don't even... Listen, I woke up this morning in a good mood, hoping my kid's going to be better, thinking, you know, hey, I'm going to stream. I'm going to have a cup of coffee. I need to relax a little bit. I've got to get out of that hospital. You know, aside from walking to the back to get Au Bon Pain and to get Nicholas some orange juice, which is connected, they're connected to the hospital. I haven't been outside in like 3 days, you know, and maybe on the balcony. I haven't been anywhere. I feel like, you know, I am truly locked down. And I don't like walking around in a hospital. You know, even if it is for my kid. You know, who likes hospitals? I mean, really, do you take great enjoyment going to a hospital? No. So, hey, what's happening, Soy Dog Cowboy? So, anyway, you know, I woke up in a good mood, and sure enough, I walk outside, and I see a car parked in front of my gate. They moved the garbage cans. Now, normally, I would look across the street at one of the Quitio shops, one of the noodle shops, and I'd say, hey, who's parked in front of my, you know, why are you parked here? Find your own parking spot. This is my house. I can't open the door. But I was in a good mood, and I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. And I see some guy sitting over there, and he's starting to get, a little flustered. And the lady, she knows me, and she knows I don't put up with any shit. And she kind of looked at me like, what's gonna happen? Like this guy's parked in front. And I just thought, you know what, life's too short, man. It's too short, and there's no reason to have to. Businesses put up wood, yeah. Anyway, so I didn't say anything. I was just like, you know what, it ain't worth it. Gennaro, what's happening? There's a lot going on in the United States, and like I said the other day, it's good that I'm staying put because I don't want to be involved in any of that. And the good thing is that you can stay out of the mix. But for some people, eventually, it's going to hit them. My wife is fine. Alex is pretty good, but he's still not 100%. He's still a bit lethargic. No Red Bull. Of course I voted. Yes, I did. No Red Bull here, buddy. Gave those up a long time ago. And Nicholas is, he had a fever last night, a pretty high fever. And then it went down, went up, went down, which is kind of normal with the dengue. So, he had a visit from his schoolmates and everything, which was nice. And they just kept coming. I'm like, you got like 20 chicks sitting in here. I'm like, and he's talking to the dudes. They're all talking to him, and the girls are all sitting together. It was really interesting dynamic because all the girls are sitting together yapping, and once in a while, one of them will say something, blurt something out, and then the guys will talk to him, and he was falling asleep. So, this is you got a country that is supposedly one of the richest, if not the richest country in the world, whether they got debt or not. They have an abundance of resources. They do have money. The government should have money. And yet they can't take care of their people. Well, what is the purpose of the government if they can't govern and take care of the public? Because think about something. They're not governing the states very well. And you can't blame it on Trump. I think it's just a situational thing, and it's a matter of Democrats being so against Republicans and Republicans being so against Democrats. And so you have these Democrat mayors, who are doing a shit job, doing all kinds of stuff, and every time it comes back to bite them in the ass, and they still don't learn. And so, it's... I don't even know how to call. What do you say about it? It's like, what is the reason for all of this? There should be no reason. And here in Thailand, I talked the other day about how 95% of Thais that were polled, and there was like 1,450, which is not a huge amount, but 95% of them said they think a ban on foreigners coming in, foreign tourists coming in, is necessary, and they agree with it. I thought maybe it was the chick, the terror. So what does that tell you? They don't want the tourists coming in. The tourist industry is failing here because there's nobody coming in, and yet they don't want people to come in, and yet there's very few people that have been affected by this. And then you look at a place like Sweden, and it's like, wait a minute, you want to keep us out, and what about all the people with family? How about we kick all the Thais out of the United States? How about we do that? Would they like that? Now, in that same vein, here you have the Chinese, who I've been saying, ever since I was in Hong Kong, I've been saying that the Chinese are a bunch of dirty, the Chinese government, not Chinese government, and all those who back them. And that is a lot of people. They're just a bunch of lying, dirty dogs. Now, that doesn't mean that people in the United States government are not lying, dirty dogs either. But in China, the virus is the Chinese virus. China, it came from China. I'll never forget how he said that. I don't know where their motivations come, where they can justify everything they're doing. But if they are making and printing mail-in ballots and keeping them in an embassy, that's just one embassy. In my opinion, you throw them all out. Get all the fucking Chinese out. All the embassies closed. All the Chinese students, you're out of here. Sorry. Get them out. I'm sorry. I know we may need them. You know what it is? It's like tough love. It's like you got a kid and, he keeps getting thrown in jail because he's, he's got a problem with alcohol. For whatever reason, he keeps getting thrown in jail. And you keep bailing him out. You think that that's going to do any good? After a while, it's like, wait a minute, you know what? I'm not going to bail him out. I'm going to let him sit in jail. Let him learn. Let him learn what it's like so that maybe he'll think twice about doing it again. Now, it hurts. It don't hurt me when it comes to the Chinese as much, at least not yet. But this is what we're dealing with. And then you got the government fighting amongst themselves. Oh, fuck me. Listen, I actually wrote to Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and the president, and wrote and said, listen, you guys need to get it together. You need to stop all this and work for the people and stop thinking about your own parties. Because what's going on is our country's going in the toilet. First of all, the reputation of the United States is going in the toilet. It's been in the toilet for a long time. Now it's sinking even farther in. I saw that. And the Chinese are like, okay, we're gonna shut the embassy in Chengdu, the U.S. embassy in Chengdu. We're gonna shut it down. Okay, shut it down. Listen, I've made no bones about this. I don't like the Chinese government. I never will. I don't like what they stand for. And they are the real plague. They're the Papa plague. The COVID is just a little baby plague. And if you think it started, there we go. And it's such a huge ordeal, you better think again, because it's only just begun. And here in Thailand, they're talking about, tourism will be back next year and all. No, it won't. I'm sorry to tell you. Tourism is not going to be the same for many, many years. Okay? It's just not. There's no way. I'm sorry. I'll be surprised if things get back to normal. And normal, I mean normal as in normal as it used to be before the virus. I'm not saying before 9/11. I'm saying before the virus. I'll be surprised if it gets back to normal in 5 years. Or if it ever gets back to normal. I mean, Now, I wanted to read this little article about the deserted beaches, empty bars, COVID-19 devastates Thailand's tourist islands. Visitor numbers expected to plummet by tens of millions in crisis that eclipsed the 2004 tsunami, bird flu, and SARS. I think that's pretty clear. Now, here's the thing. They were talking about how the funds went, the revenue went from 10 billion. Was it 10 billion? 10 billion to 9 billion. Rubbish. That's rubbish. It's pure rubbish. So you're saying, everything dropped off by 10%? Try it's dropped off by 90%. That's about what it is. The streets of Koh Samui, one of Thailand's most popular destinations, are eerily quiet. Along Chaweng Beach Road, a usually raucous party area, shuttered shops stretch into the distance. Before the coronavirus pandemic, it was buzzing with traffic. Now taxi drivers sit on the roadside with little hope of finding customers. Where bikini-clad sunseekers once browsed souvenir shops and drank at neon-lit bars, a lone street dog, there you are, soy dog, stretches on the pavement. Elsewhere, swaths of Koh Samui's idyllic sandy white beaches are almost entirely free of people. Before I go on, listen, I already gave a shout out to Carl, to everybody else. Thank you very much. But please go to my website at americaninbangkok.com. Check out that merch below the window or in the description. And I'm going to be getting into my little trip. Hopefully I'll be able to take it. Hotel prices have not gone down all that much. Don't buy into the hype. Yeah, visit my website and give this video, please give it a, if you would be so kind, give it a thumbs up. Share it on your little Facebook or little Twitter or one of them little social media things, or your website. What else? Subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. That's real important. I need subscribers. That's what I need. I need more subscribers. That's great. I'm trying to get to 15,000. Can I do that? Why is it so difficult for me to get 15,000? You know why? Because I'm losing the people from China. I'm losing people from Hong Kong because I'm not in Hong Kong anymore, and I probably won't ever be again. Let's make that clear right now. I will never ever go to China, and I will never go to Hong Kong again, and that really pains me. Hong Kong pains me. China, I don't give a shit about. Okay, I wasn't all that impressed by China, and you know, it's not like it's a place that gives me a Woody every time I went there. You know, there were some nice little things, but that was about it. But it wasn't some place where I'm like, I'm going back. I gotta go back. No. You know, Indonesia does that for me. Myanmar does that for me. Thailand does that for me. China doesn't do it for me. I don't give, you know, they got the Great Wall, but I don't see what's so great about it. They ought to call it the Tamada Wall, you know, it's a wall, you know. Yeah, I mean, I think the U.S. government has overreacted. I think a lot of countries have overreacted. I think, though, that one thing is pretty certain. If people wore masks for at least from the beginning for, say, 3 months, I think they would have been able to control the virus a little bit more. Now I'm seeing that in Florida, where was it? There was one place where one of the areas where like 50% of the or 75% of the hospitals were 90% full. Now I don't know if that's true. It's not good though, but you know, and nowadays you don't know what you can believe with the news. So you know that's another thing. It's like I can't trust the news. Listen, before I get back into this article, you know, I noticed something. Why is it that the news is really not covering the whole stimulus package? Why are they not giving it more coverage? People need it, and they don't give it coverage. The only ones who give it coverage are like Money and Forbes. And guess what? There are people on YouTube now who have more information than the journalists do. And I'm like going, what are you talking about? How is it not important to people? I can only imagine having 4 kids and being, the best is yet to come, Carl, and being, you know, like having 4 kids or something and working for some company. The company lays you off. All right, you make some money, you're socking it away, you're living tight, you know, things are tight, you're trying to live as normal as possible, and then your unemployment ends, and then they're like, oh, we're going to give you $1,200, and your mortgage is $2,000 a month, and your car insurance is, you know, $75 a month, and your wife's is $50 a month, and you know, they're going to have a lot of people on unemployment and a lot of people on the streets, and there's going to be a lot of pissed off people if they don't give them enough money. And you know, this is one time. Listen, I do believe that you're basically mortgaging this generation, the next generation, for this generation. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. But what are you going to do? Let the people all live on the street? They're going to go nuts. They're already going nuts. You know, I would think that this is what I would like to see. I'd like to say, hey, listen, you guys are going to pay. But they will never pay. Not willingly, at least. Now, if we went to war, that's a different story. But who wants to go to war? That would just put... I'm really worried about the future, you know? And I'm not really... Listen, I look at things from both sides. I try to be very balanced in my assessments. But I am worried about the future. And I'm not necessarily worried for individuals. I'm worried for various countries. I am worried about Thailand because, first of all, Thailand is changing in ways that I don't really want to get into. They're a little more like China than Singapore. And don't underestimate the Chinese influence here in Southeast Asia. So I worry about that. You know, just because, they've never been colonized and all that kind of thing. Don't put it past the Chinese to have troops, on the streets here in Thailand at some point. I wouldn't put it past them. You know, it might be 5 or 10 years, might never happen, or it might happen in 2 years. Who knows? But I am worried about the future. Now, let me go on with this. Taiwan could be next, and then what? About 40 million tourists flocked to Thailand last year, drawn by its spectacular coastlines, ornate temples, and famous cuisine. Yet in 2020, the country will struggle to attract even a quarter of that number, according to the Tourist Authority of Thailand. Tourism ground to a halt in April when Thailand imposed a ban on all incoming passenger flights. The country, which has so far managed to contain COVID-19, recorded 3,255 cases and 58 deaths, is discussing travel bubbles with low-risk neighboring countries, but no one knows when these might be established. Borders remain shut to almost all foreign tourists. So what are they going to do? Who are the high-end tourists in Southeast Asia that border the country close by? What are you going to do? You're going to let the Chinese in? You're going to let them in from certain regions? Well, then all they're going to do is go to another region, buy the ticket there, use their auntie's, information, get a ticket for them. They move to that area, supposedly. Boom, they can fly into Thailand. So if they really want to come into Thailand, they can. So I don't know how they're going to work that. The travel sector has survived devastating crises before, including the 2004 tsunami, bird flu, and SARS outbreak. But the impact of the coronavirus pandemic is beyond comparison, says Taines Petsuwan, Deputy Governor for Marketing Communication at the Tourism Authority of Thailand. During previous crisis, revenue dropped by around a fifth, he said. So it dropped it around 20%. This year, the coronavirus pandemic is expected to cause an 80% fall in revenues. It's a huge impact. To make matters worse, Thailand's economy has become even more reliant on tourism, accounting for almost 20% of the GDP, according to Taines. About 4.4 million people are employed across the industry in transport, travel agencies, restaurants, and hotels. And that includes my wife, who so far is fairly fortunate, but some of her coworkers have been asked, do you want to take a severance package or do you want to keep working? And they've said, we want the severance package, because what they want to do is get the money and then try to figure something else out on their own where they can make a living without having to worry about what the company's going to do. I wouldn't say most of them, no. And there are various owners. I mean, how much do the Chinese own the Hilton? I don't know. Or the Hyatt, or I don't really know, to be honest, but I don't think they own that much. I'm sure they probably would surprise me. In Samui, many have gone for months without work. Before coronavirus, Jaruni Kasorn, who works in a local massage parlor in Chaweng, says her colleagues would welcome up to 90 clients a day. They're one of the few businesses to reopen on Beach Road, but a whole day can go by without a single customer. Now, I got a massage in Pattaya, foot massage in Pattaya. And I asked the lady, how many customers? And she told me something like 20 customers a day for her. It's just a little place. There was you could put two people in, two masseuse in the place. So you could have 4 or 5 people sitting there. She told me, "You're the first customer of the day," and I was a customer at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and she closed. I was at 6. She closed at 8. Though modest social assistance payments were offered to workers during lockdown, this is no longer available. So here in Thailand, it's like you're on your own, and maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. I'm not really for the government to get involved in everything, but the government has 2 jobs, and that is to govern and to make sure that the people are safe. And they're doing neither very well right now. They're piss poor. I will say there's only, I can't remember now who they were. They're like third in the amount of, the stimulus checks were $1,200. They're third in the amount of that was given to them. Japan, I think, was fourth. The Thais have seldom had very much government assistance. It's, they don't have that safety net. They got 5,000 baht a month for 3 months. So, that gives you an idea, which is, for some people, that's like 10-15% of their salary. Many people say we won't die from COVID, but we will die because we are not able to eat, which is what I've been saying, says Ta Sasi Winon, who has just reopened her stall at an outdoor market in Fisherman's Village known as the Walking Street. The past few months have been a struggle for her and her 2 daughters. We cook more cheaply, eating eggs, rice, and eggs. Eating egg and rice and egg, she says. Yeah, but it's not much, comparatively speaking. And listen, Thailand is no longer really cheap. It's still a little cheaper in some areas, but it's more expensive in others. Parts of the market and nearby beach have begun to return to life. There are a group of visitors and locals peering at the discounted stalls, but it is still nowhere near as busy as it would usually be. Among those shopping are tourists stuck abroad, foreign residents living in Thailand, and Thais who the government has encouraged to travel domestically through a stimulus package that offers subsidized hotels. The scheme and looming long weekend has provided a welcome boost, said Lloyd Maraville, general manager of the Noraburi Resort and Spa. Of the hotel's 144 rooms, about 100 are empty, though this will fall to 85 over the holiday. Government measures, he adds, might sustain hotels for a while, but it will not be a long-term solution. Well, that's how it is everywhere, Rooms have been booked at far below the usual rates. Now that, I don't see that. Honestly, I don't see it. Maybe the privately owned hotels and guest house are, they have the freedom to do that, but the bigger places, I think that they can only reduce their rates to a point, and from what I've seen, they haven't reduced them all that much. It's not like you're not getting a flight on AirAsia for 200 baht when it used to be 2,000. It's not like that. You're not even getting it for 500 baht. And considering that AirAsia Thailand, the Thai AirAsia, could feasibly go out of business, I don't know why anybody would want to buy one of their packages, which, I've looked into them several times, and they're just never worth it. Because you always have to book ahead, you always got to pay the taxes, and it works out to where you're not really saving much at all. I was going to swear, but I decided not to. Government measure, okay. Taines believes that when tourism is able to begin again, the industry will be altered completely. I agree. He hopes for positive change. I wouldn't count on it. I think this is a good time for Thailand to upskill the human resources of the industry to move Thailand away from being an overcrowded tourist destination. Now, I do agree with that. Mass tourism and the dependence on large tour groups, he argues, will be a thing of the past. In Samui, businesses are focused on survival for now. Just last month, it was announced that nearly 100 local hotel owners had been forced to sell. Many more remain shut indefinitely. I've lived here for 20 years and I'm shocked. I never thought it could be like this, said Ratanaporn Chadakan, who runs a stall at the walking street. No one knows how long this crisis will last. For now, she adds, everyone is just waiting for the skies to reopen. What some people don't realize is that there's going to come a point where the airlines are going to say, we need help. And the government's going to go, we have no money to give. And then what? Give the... Yeah, live by the tourist, die by the tourist. Good morning, Mr. Jono. How you doing? You know, you can't rely on domestic tourism. And what are you going to do? I know what and I agree with the Thais. They shouldn't worry about bringing in, millions of people and then trying to make, 1,000 baht off of each one. They'd be better off to bring in 1 million people and make more. But that means revamping everything and reworking your marketing program, your marketing plan, and basically just saying screw you to all the people like backpackers, people like me. Although I'm not a backpacker per se, I try to do things on the cheap, and I dare say they're not going to ever completely do away with the cheap hotels and hostels. But they can very well make this a destination. If they were smart, they'd do something. I mean, I think countries, if they were smart, what they would do is they would say, you need to spend this much money every day if you want to come to our country. We have, you can pay through the tour, but you don't have to take everything in the tour or anything, but you're going to have to pay this much. You got to pay $150 every day. So if you're here for 10 days, it's $1,500. And maybe that gets you nothing. I don't know. But in Bhutan they do that, but I don't think that it's the right way to go with the way they're doing it. Where they make it like they used to, where there was a departure tax. Hey, there's an insurance tax. There's a COVID tax. There's now a departure tax that we tack on into a higher departure tax. Maybe it's $100 instead of $15. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, but it's not going to stay the same. I can tell you that right now. Things are going to change. I think that's when I came in 2011 million tourists. Well, now I think there's 40, as they say, 40 million. Which is huge. Well, just because they're shutting down the embassy in Chengdu doesn't mean there's going to be a war. And I think actually, although the Chinese could do a lot of damage, I think in the end, the United States, and I think Trump, would be like, you know what, I'm done playing. We're going to completely obliterate them. Sorry, but this is what's going to happen. And people would go nuts and they'd hate it. Listen, I got no sympathy for these people. For me, it's about survival. Better I survive than the fucking Chinese survive. I don't give a flying fuck about the CCP or the Chinese people when it comes to them following the CCP. If they're against the CCP, get them out of there. Vet them properly. Get them out. Yeah, I mean, the United States has been doing a lot of drills. I think they're aircraft carriers. They've been doing a lot of drills lately, like four tests in 2 weeks or something like that. Listen, if one thing, we do have a pretty good military, If you're young and you want a job, go in the military. You're pretty well guaranteed you're going to get paid decently. You're not going to get rich. but you have some security, and you'll have something to do, and you'll learn something, and but really at this point, I'm so skeptical about the U.S. government, the Chinese government, the world. I'm at the point now where I don't believe a fucking word anybody says. Look at Mitch McConnell. Oh, we're going to release this package on Monday. Well, guess what? It's Saturday. He never did release the package. Why not, you fucking doddering old fool? How stupid are you? You're on your holiday. Get it ready so when you go in Monday morning, hey man, the exam, you have that take-home exam completely finished. You turn it in 9 a.m. Bam, there it is. Oh, I've been working on it in my off time. No, you weren't, you fucking lying old fuck. Nancy Pelosi, she makes me sick. These guys, their career, they ought to do something now with the politicians where, I don't know what the answer is. They don't get paid. And in that way, they're doing it for altruistic reasons, hopefully. I don't know what the answer is. That's the problem. I'm in a quandary. I just want to go sit in some cave somewhere. And then it's like, but I want to drive a little truck out back to a nice little house where I can chill out, go on the internet, live stream, watch a little TV or something, some show, be comfortable. I don't want to live in abject poverty. That wouldn't be a good thing. Now, has anybody been watching this? It's hard not to see what's going on between Johnny Depp and what's her name? Amber Heard Me. And the only reason I really know about it is because Johnny Depp just made a movie. It's coming out supposedly in September. Well, they're not supposed to. Johnny Depp is going to be in a movie. I read it was a bit slow, but for photography lovers, and especially documentary photography people, you should love the movie. He plays a guy named W. Eugene Smith, who was extremely famous as a photographer, extremely well known. This is back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, where he was pretty well known. But he went to a place called Minamata in Japan, and he found out that this one company was, I don't remember the whole thing, but the company was doing something with the fish, and the fish had mercury poisoning, or because of their company, it was going into the water, the fish were being poisoned, the fishermen were catching the fish and serving the people, and people were dying and becoming extremely ill because of the mercury poisoning. So he went over to photograph it, and he has a picture. It's a very famous picture of a woman, the mother, holding her child who is deformed, extremely deformed, because of the mercury. She's holding her in a bath. And Eugene Smith, Eugene Smith, took these photos, and people were outraged. And then the Japanese beat the living shit out of him. And he still went back. I think he was married to a Japanese woman. He goes there, he takes the photos. They find out he's the one taking the photos. The Japanese see him, a group of Japanese see him, and they beat the hell out of him. I mean, beat him severely. And so then he just went back. He basically said, fuck you, go ahead, beat me up again. Which, he was a tough old bird. And he took more photos. And eventually they were brought to court and everything. But it's supposed to be a great movie. But because of that, I saw that he is in the news. And if you remember, he was married to that extremely fine-looking piece of ass, which is really all she should be. Amber Heard. She was in the Rum Diaries. The blonde girl she's gorgeous on the outside. On the inside, she's a complete piece of shit. If you get a chance, just type into YouTube, audio, Johnny Depp audio with Amber Heard. And he's talking to her about how he doesn't want to fight with her And that's why he walks away when she starts getting really, really angry. And she's like, no, you're a chicken, you're a coward, you don't want to deal with our relationship problems and all these things. And you could tell she's constantly looking for problems. Apparently, and the only reason I really care is not because they're celebrities, I care because it shows about how, in many cases, the men are vilified, and it's the women who are pushing them into situations where they cannot win. He actually said to her, listen, you remember you threw, the only time I threw something at you is when you were throwing, the one time when you threw cans at me and in Australia. And apparently she had been throwing pots and pans at him and doing all these things. And she was like, yeah, well, I get angry. She just justified it in her head. I get angry and I'm human. And this is how it is. And he said, the only time I ever threw anything at you was when we were in Australia, and she actually threw, I think it was a bottle or something. And the bottle, I don't know if he went to catch it. It hit his hand and smashed his hand up against like a glass coffee table, and it sliced his finger. He almost lost his finger because of this bitch. And yet she's been trying to take him to the cleaners because he divorced her, and it's coming out now that she's a mental case. She's one of these chicks. She's your stereotypical chick who is, the guy doesn't do anything they want, and then they just constantly are making problems. Now, I don't know, maybe because he married her, and maybe because she was beautiful. I mean, not that he can't have good looking women, but maybe because of, he loved her. He tried to get through it and tried to be extremely mellow and not make a problem. He said to her, I walk away because I don't want to do something that I'm ashamed of, or that makes things worse, like haul off and slug you. That's why I leave, which is, I think, the proper way to handle it, right? Let me see something here. But that wasn't good enough for her. So now they're in court. She's trying to, get money from him. And they were married for 2 years, and, so how much money is she really due? She's due absolutely diddly squat, nothing. She's a, here's the thing. It used to, what is it? I'm broke, and you're, what the hell is it? I'm always broke, but I'm always, what is it? I can lose weight, but you'll always be ugly, or something like that, or you'll always be stupid, right? It's one of those scenarios, because she wants it all, and everybody is going to look at her now and just go, you're a piece of ass right now, but you know what? In another 20 years, nobody's going to give a shit about you because you're going to be old and wrinkly. And she's just a twat. You can hear, I mean, we're not talking about a little 30-second clip. We're talking about an hour-long audio recording. You're talking about, they have several of them. And in every single, I listened to like 20 minutes of a couple of them. And I'm sitting there, Nicholas is asleep, and I'm listening to these audio tapes of this fight. And I'm in absolute shock, because he's like going, will you let me speak? Can I please speak? And she's just going on and on and on. And he's like, well, we don't fight. I don't want to fight with you because of this. And did you ever think that maybe, and yes, I do love you, but, and then she's like, and I was like, there's a perfect example. Gorgeous woman, when you blow your load, you say goodbye. You say, adios, see you later. I asked one of the girls today here at Starbucks. Today we have tea and preo and beer working, Mr. Gennaro. And I asked Beer, I said, do you have any kids? I'm just wondering, you have any kids? She said, I don't have kids and I don't have a boyfriend. I'm alone, and that's how I like it. I said, really, you like it that way? And she goes, I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to pay for anybody. I don't have anybody asking me to pay for them. I don't have to meet anybody. I do what I want, when I want. I go here, I go there, and I don't have to answer to anybody. And I was like, wow. You know, I'm like, wow. I don't know what happened to Smile and Mild. I don't know if they still work here, or if they sometimes they move them, you know, to other places. So I don't know, you know, what's going on there, but you know, so when I hear somebody saying that, show me a girl, and a man, yeah, I mean, you know, or I think it was, you know, like people used to use the analogy like Billy Joel and Christy Brinkley. Yeah, she's a beautiful girl, but you don't think he gets tired of banging her? After a while, you get tired of banging, you know, just about anybody. Doesn't matter how good they look, you know. And you get tired of the bullshit. You get tired of them being on the rag. You get tired of them bitching them up. So if you find one that 95% of the time you enjoy being with her, and 5% of the time, you know, you got to put up with a little shit, you're probably doing good. Because I guarantee you, like for me, my guess is now the number has decreased in years. Every year I decrease about 10%, well, 5%. But you know, I would say that I was probably a pain in the ass when my wife first met me. You know, I'm sure she'd say that. You know, but you either get along and you're okay with it, and you understand that every once in a while there's going to be, you know, there's going to be some people get irritated. I mean, listen, Nicholas, he'll wake up, even in the hospital, he's woken up, he's been like, hey, I feel pretty good. And I'm like, well, take it easy, just relax, you know, maybe watch a little TV, but if you fall asleep, you fall asleep. Yeah, okay, I know. And then he wakes up sometimes, he's like, I don't feel good. You know, and the nurse will come, the nurse will come and go, you want a sponge bath? You know, of course they just say, do you want to clean your body? You want us to clean your body? And, you know, and I'm like, take it when you can, buddy. You know, do it when you can, because who knows when they're going to be back. And he's like, I don't want it. Leave me alone. I want to sleep. You know, so you're going to have to deal with people's moods. I mean, you know, in that sense, we are human. It doesn't give you the right, because you're human and you get angry, to throw cans at somebody or pots and pans. That shit's a deal breaker for me. And even this girl said to me, the problem with her, she said, is that I get a guy who likes me, and then he wants to know where I am, what I'm doing, and then he'll call me up and say, aren't you going to come back? No, I'm not going to come back for another hour or two. And then the guy gets pissed off, and then she says, see you later. I don't want to deal with that bullshit. You know, you got to give, that's the thing. You got to give people some trust. You got to give them some of that space, that freedom. And the one really good thing that I would say is that when I got into the relationship with my wife, we knew that I liked to travel, that I did travel, that I made money traveling, that there were things that I did that required me to leave. And she doesn't care. She's fine just staying at home. She'd rather stay there with the kids and just chill out. And like, I love that. I don't have any shit from her. 99% of the time, she doesn't give me any shit. I just tell her, you know, a couple of weeks I'm going to split, which is, you know, same thing I did with the last trip and the next trip and the trips before that. I just tell her, you know, I give her a little notice and I go, hey, you know, don't forget. Okay, what's the date? And she does the same thing with me, you know. But you don't have to live with an Amber Heard. I don't give a shit how beautiful she is. And Johnny Depp probably got to the point where he's like, listen, I don't have a problem with women. I got plenty of dough. And this girl, as beautiful as she is throwing pots and pans at me. And apparently in front of his friends and her friends and the bodyguards, she would do all kinds of shit to make his life miserable. So who wants that? Who needs that? Yeah, man, he's got it rough. He's got it rough. He won't have it rough for very much longer. Fortunately, I think he's gonna come out looking pretty sweet. You know, and I think some of it has affected his acting and his career and everything like that, all because of her, because of this twat, this lady. Excuse me. All right, now, since you can't come into Thailand if you're outside of Thailand, the chance is pretty slim you're going to be able to come in. I don't have to worry about there being chowderheads. You know, not that Johnny Depp was a chowderhead. I mean, listen, if you're going to be a chowderhead, you might as well be one with a girl like Amber Heard. But then, you know, like, listen, after you've had your fun for a couple of weeks or a month, and she starts acting like that, don't marry her. You say, next. See you later, honey. Now, you know, I asked people to vote on where I would go next. And I've pretty much made up my mind what I want to do. And it's very simple. It's something that, you know, I've been to a lot of places in Thailand already, a lot of provinces, but there's 77 provinces. I'm going to sit down and figure out how many provinces I've already been to. And then I'm going to only start with the last trip, which was Nakhon Phanom, Bangkok, and Nong Khai, which I am making videos, and I did finish a couple up. I'm not really happy with them. I may try to edit them a little bit, but I may put some stuff up in Patreon and it for the members and stuff on my website, like today or tomorrow. So that's 3 provinces. So I got 74 more provinces. I'd like to go around the outer edge of Thailand, and then I'll work on the inside provinces. So the next trip will probably be Loei, Phitsanulok, Uttaradit, and Nan. So, Soda Cowboy, if you're still here and you're listening, I am considering staying at the place you recommended in Nan. I need to figure out, you know, some good places to go, some things to do, some interesting stuff. And, you know, depending on what happens with my kid and how things go, and, you know, if they both get back to school and everything's all right, that should be in about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. But probably in the next few days I'll buy a ticket and I'll go somewhere. Probably Loei will be the first place that I go, and I'll just work my way around. And, you know, I'll do it as I can afford it, which is, you know, that's all you can do, and that'll be fine. But you know, I might as well, because if I can't travel, what are they listening to? I demonetized the video simply because I know I'm sitting here and I know they're playing loud music. I don't know what this is. Doris Day. Sounds like it. Little Doris. So anyway, if you got any hot spots in Loei that you'd like me to show, let me know in the comments below. Any hot spots in Phitsanulok. There is one place I know there, but, you know, I'd be passing through the very narrow section of Phitsanulok. I don't know if I'm going to stop there. Just go through there, and then I'll go to Uttaradit, which I have not looked at all. And, you know, maybe I'll keep going. We'll see. Depends, you know, it always depends on funding. I hate to say that, but it does. You know, I'm not yet independently wealthy, and YouTube does not. I'm not. What's that guy's name that it's always traveling? Well, there's like, you know, there's a few people. They usually burn out, which I understand. But anyway, so there will be some videos coming out very shortly. I'm almost done. I'm still debating on whether to do one long one or several small ones. Jono said he wants to go on a run with me. He wants to run the outer edge of Thailand. Wants to get that leg nice and strong. Like a 100-kilometer run or something. I think that's what he was talking about. hell is this? Oh, that's Tian. Yak, 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 yak. She's the one, she's the big talker. Preo is the one who talks very little, as is the other one, Beer. After a while, you kind of realize what their personalities are like, or you get an idea of what they're like. So it is a pretty nice day out here today, but it looks like it's going to rain later on, which is the norm right now. Now, the reason I'm choosing where I want to go is because that in the voting, 47% of the people either are apathetic, either are just saying surprise me, or make the choice. They've made the choice to allow me to make the choice because for whatever reason, maybe I've made halfway decent choices in the past. I don't know, but that's kind of where I like to go up there and just get that kind of out of the way. And that area, that northern area, the area of Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, Nan. I think I go to Payao also, but I'm not sure. So there's a lot of cool places that I can go visit, and you know, maybe it'll be entertaining, hopefully. If not, you can skewer me. I also have a few things to take care of before I go, which is like go to the dentist. I have 3 appointments made. So I'll be at the dentist for the next month. And then I got my kid to worry about. Then I got to figure out this trip. Got to edit the videos, you know. What's the northernmost town? I thought it was Chiang Rai, but I could be wrong. Mae Hong Son? Maybe it's Mae Hong Son. Just look at a map of the provinces, it'll tell you. The most southern one, I think, is Sungkai Kalok, or is it Sungkai Kalok? I went to the most southern one. I haven't been to the most northern. And I thought about doing something like going from the north to the south. I'm not going to walk. I'm not going to do any of that shit. Definitely Chiang Rai. Chiang Rai, you can't ever lose in Chiang Rai. But some of the other provinces, you know, like Bangkok was fucking awesome. That place, if you go out into the forest, you go out and you look in the national parks, man, there is some fantastic stuff. And as much as I liked Nakhon Phanom, for its reason, I think that the standout of the 3 was Bangkok. You know, it was so nice. It was just fantastic. I mean, fantastic for selfies, fantastic for photos, fantastic for being outdoors. It's for so many reasons, it was great. Now, the only thing that wasn't great was basically the city. Wasn't all that fantastic. Nakhon Phanom was a better city, but once you got out of the city in Bangkok, it was much, much nicer than what I saw in Nakhon Phanom. And Nong Khai is kind of like, for me, it's okay. It's not a fantastic place. It's not a bad place. I liked the hotel room I had. I liked the people at the hotel. I liked the garden. I liked being on the Mekong. Okay, that was nice. But other than that, so out of all those 3 places, I'd rank them as Bangkok, Nakhon Phanom, and then Nong Khai. So maybe I'll do that also. I'll start blogging again, and you know, see what happens there. Yeah, I've been to Chiang Rai several times, but I went many years ago, and I took I did a little tour. It was like a 5-night tour where I went up in a boat. We took a boat down I think it was the Ping River, Mae Ping. And, you know, it took like 3-4 hours in this boat. And then we had elephants take us into this village. And then we had to hike to the next village. And it was pretty crazy. You had some fantastic views. I mean, you know, it was like, it definitely wasn't hot. You got to bring long sleeve shirts or a sweater or a jacket or something because it was really, really cold. But there are some things that I want to do especially when it comes to, missed it. Sorry, guys. Oof. Gennaro, you would have been very pleased with what just walked by. I didn't catch it in time, though. A little slow, you know, old age. So, you know, we'll see. But there's plenty to do. And, you know, listen, I got to say this. Every time somebody buys a t-shirt, every time somebody buys a book, every time somebody sends $5, $10, whatever it may be, all that just adds up and it just helps. I mean, think about it this way. I did a video the other day. The first hotel that I stayed at was $15.80. So $15, there's one night I don't have to worry about. Now, if I got money for another 2 nights, that's 3 nights. It's my own money. I got 3 nights right there because somebody, you know, or a couple of people gave me $5 each. So that's how it works. And, you know, the last time when I came back, it was because I just didn't have the money to keep going. And then Nick was, you know, or Alex was sick. So it was perfect timing. I was glad I came back. But, you know, I was running out of money and I was like, I can't spend anymore. I gotta go. But, you know, this is a hard time for everybody. So, I mean, you know, get something for your money. If you're gonna do anything, you know, buy something. Buy a shirt, buy a coffee mug, or buy 3 of them and give them to people at your office, and, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. Maybe there will be a time when I'll be able to send you guys coffee cups just for being my supporters, you know, but I'm not in that position right now. And if you see me like sleeping in the Oriental Hotel or something and they haven't sponsored me to stay there, then you'll know I've made it, because I've never been there. Tom, thank you very much. You are the very first person and the very first super chat. So, of course, thus, in Thai culture, you are entitled to good luck all day. Conlat. Very nice, thank you. And it's people like Tom and Gennaro and Mr. Longhorns and Jono and Jack and you know, and there's a lot of people. You know, but I'll be honest, you know, the funding and all that, okay, that helps, it's nice, and, you know, I like to be able to do it because for the most part it's still pretty fun for me to stream and to do some videos and stuff. Thank you, Ron, very much. Thank you. Appreciate that. Listen, that $5, well, let's see. That works out to $3.50 for me. So that means if I have coffee from Cafe Amazon, that'll get me 3.5 coffees. That's a lot, you know. Because you know, listen, sometimes I come to Starbucks and I'm like, do I really want to spend the money? Honestly, the only reason I like to be here is because it's convenient and it's a little bigger, and I don't like supporting the lady over at Cafe Amazon across the street. I'd rather do the one upstairs. There's a Cafe Amazon upstairs, but it's very, very small and it's very loud. But anyway, what was I going to say? This month will translate all the money that I get this month will be in next month's payment to me from YouTube. It's the best month that I've had in, I believe it's about 2 years. I have to go back and look. More than I made, and I didn't make that much. And by not much, I'm talking about like $300, $400 for YouTube is a lot of money for me. I don't make all the, you know, that's the thing. It helps enough to be able to pay for some travel, but that's about all I'll make. I wish I made thousands, but it doesn't work that way. Not yet. I'm still hopeful. But, you know, it could be a lot worse. You know, I mean, I could be sitting at my house every day, all day, doing nothing and just not being able to travel, not being able to see anything. And, you know, I mean, most people know that know me pretty well, the people who've been following me for a while, there are times when I don't feel like streaming. I don't feel like making videos. I don't feel like doing shit. There's times when I'm like that, and I'm tired, I'm grouchy, I don't feel like, being nice to people, and I just don't feel like dealing with shit. I just want to, like, be alone, leave me the fuck alone. Let me put some music on, give me a couple hours and I'll feel better. But usually I push myself to get through it, because, you gotta have some kind of discipline. So anyway, I don't know what the point is there, but every little bit helps. That's one point. And there are still some really cool places to go and to see. And I still like to, listen, I'd still like to get in a kayak and go all kinds of places. I need to figure that out. And Alex is starting to help me, and help, I mean, like, he's pushing me to eat better and to exercise more. And assuming that Nicholas gets out of the hospital in the next couple of days, I won't be spending every night in the hospital with him, which makes it a little bit difficult for me to do much, because, the doctor comes in, oh, he's got this wrong with his blood. Oh, he's getting better. Oh, now he's not getting better. Oh, he's in this phase. He's in that phase. His fever is getting worse. And, and my buddy said to me, why don't they just put him in the ice bath? Apparently they don't do that. At least here, they don't do that anymore. They put you in cool water, but not ice water, because people can't stand it. I thought that was pretty interesting. So if you get a high fever, just run a cool or cold bath, just regular water, no ice necessary. Supposedly that's better. Anyway. I'm going to do my part for tourism in Thailand. And for you people watching. Of course you can, Victor. Of course. I believe on my website, if you go to, it's like American in Bangkok .com /Scott or /donate. I believe that there are bank labels, icons, and if you click on one of those banks, it will show how to send a transfer. But I don't know if you're talking about a Thai transfer or a transfer internationally. If it's internationally, then you got to have a routing or a SWIFT code, which is still pretty easy to find. But I don't know if I put that in there or not. I don't remember. I just do this stuff and then I forget about it. Pretty much. Just like I operate in life, if something is not really, if I figure I've done something, it's right, then I kind of forget about it. So, and I can't really check right now because I'm on my phone. So, internationally is quite expensive. Nationally should be free. But I've done this before. I've done the intermittent fasting. And I don't have a problem with it, But when I get into a position where I'm in the hospital and like people are bringing food, and my wife is like, "Okay, I brought food for you guys," and it's sitting in front of me, and I'm like, "Man, I'm starving." And I'm like, "All right, I'll eat it." And I'm like, "Well, now that was shit. Why did I eat that for? It would taste really good, but it was bad for me." Okay. Yeah, let me know, Victor. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I ain't getting any younger. For those of you who are older, like my age, I'll be 58 in a couple of months. You probably know what I mean. I know Jono knows. Still went to food markets. I understand. I know, Sasha. I do know. I've done it before. I've fasted for wrestling. I've fasted for boxing. I fasted with my boxers that I represented. I can do it. It's a matter of getting my head right and saying to myself, I'm gonna do this no matter what. You know, for me, I have to really get mentally there. I can't just go halfway and go, because I'm usually flying by the seat of my pants. You know, like I know Alex is coming back today, and then I'm like, what's he gonna do? He told me he doesn't want to do anything, but then if he goes, okay, I want to go practice in the in the studio. Can I go? Yeah. You want me to go? Yeah, okay. And then I go to the studio, and they got like fried bananas sitting there in front of me, and I'm smelling them, and I'm starving, and I'm like, I don't need to eat these. If I'm in the right frame of mind, I'm like, no problem. Get those things away from me. But then what happens is sometimes I go, I'll just have one. You know, ice cream is my weakness, and so the fried bananas are pretty damn good too. But yeah, it is about making that decision. Yeah, I don't want to starve. I don't have a problem when I drink like tea, have a coffee with no sugar, no milk or anything like that. I don't have a real problem with it. That, at least for the first couple days. After that, you get to the point where you don't really feel hungry because you haven't eaten. At least I do. And then once in a while I'll get a little hunger pang. Like if I come home and there's a pizza sitting on the table and the kids are chowing down, oh, this is so good, And I'm like, you bastards. Why are you bringing pizza in right now? Now Alex is very good. Nicholas, not so much. My wife, not so much. They're like, just eat it. Then it's somebody's birthday or something like that, Anyway, bottom line is that's a bunch of excuses. The truth is, I want to get in a little bit better shape. As long as I've got some money, I won't be hungry. It's not really the money part. I mean, we got a bunch of food socked away, although we need to restock a little bit. I did the other about a week ago. Once I came back, I restocked, but we need 2 or 3 times at the shopping center to stock up on everything with rice and cereal and vegetables and stuff like that, Anyway, what's today? Oh, so the mall is open already? Yeah, it's open. I didn't know. The mall opens at 10 o'clock on the weekends. Gennaro, I should go up and talk to these girls just for you. Just because I'm a nice guy. Would you like that? Gennaro, if you're not here, it's not going to happen. The mental aspect of training is everything. And what's funny is I used to be really, really strong when it came to that. Now, it's just because I'm a little older, I'm like, it gives me an excuse. It gives me an excuse. I'm like, I'm getting older. If I can't have an ice cream once in a while, what good is living? Oh yeah, okay. I'll pimp you out. Don't tempt me. All right, let's go over here. Hang on a second. I'll go talk to. This is the one who she's in Bangkok. Youth is wasted on the young. Yes, it is. Oh. Preo. คุณไม่ได้ไปบึงกาฬ ไปเมื่อไหร่อ่ะปีหน้าแต่ไปครั้งสุดท้ายไป
ท้ายปีนี้แหละไปเมื่อตอนมกรา
มากราอ๋อเอ่อจะไม่ได้ไปไหนกลับบ้านไม่ได้อยู่ในเมือง
อะไรนะคะ
อยู่ในเมือง
no
no
อยู่ชนบทอยู่
she's hiding she knows I see her เฮ้ยเหมันเด็กเด็กเกย์แล้วแต่
เจ๋แล้วแต่
สมน้ำหน้าสมน้ำหน้าไม่ได้ไปวัดพุทธอกไม่อยากไป
ตกวัดเหรอตกบันไดเหรอ
วัดพุทธอก
ไปเดินยังไงให้ตกเนี่ย
ไปเที่ยว
ไปเที่ยว
ไปภูสิงห์
ก็จะตก
วัดพุทธอก
วัดภูตก
ไม่ใช่ตกไม่ใช่ตกตอกวัดพุทธอกรู้จักไหมแต่เขาไม่รู้จักเป็นไม่เคยไป
เคยไปนานแล้ว
โอ้นานแล้วเป็นเด็ก
สมัยเด็ก
ๆไม่กลัว
ๆยังเลยกลัวเลยกลัวอะไรกลัวไม่น่ากลัวนะ
คุณมาจากนครพนมไม่กลัวอะไรใช่ไหมวัดพุทธอกผู้สิงห์โอ้ประตูผู้สิงห์ก็กลัว
แต่สวยนะ
ก็สวยมากผู้หญิงบุญคันก็สวยไหม
สวย
จริงๆเหรอ
จริง
ไม่ใช่คุณแต่คนไม่ใช่ ผู้หญิงที่นู่นธรรมดาเขา
เขาสวยธรรมชาติเลย
ล่ะ natural oh god I knew she was gonna say that all right I took one for the team on that one believe me she seems like a charming young lady until you piss her off and cheat on her or you piss her off and you promise her something and you don't give it to her then she's going to be a little bit not so charming they're all very sweet and charming until they're not oh yeah that's right I forgot about the Uncle Ben's taking Uncle Ben off the rice. That's what's known in Thailand as conversing with one another. Playful conversing, that's it. Nothing more. No, you know what? Beer seems to be very quiet and very independent and very strong-willed. Tian is a bit of a firecracker, but she's the one. She's married and she's got a kid, about a year old, I think now. And then Preo seems to be the one who she's a bit. How can I say? A little on the ting tong side, a little. I don't want to say crazy, but like goofy. She's a little on the goofy side. But what I was saying to her was, have you been to this temple? And then finally she said, yeah, I was there a long time ago when I was a kid. And she was talking about how beautiful that area is. Bumkan is very beautiful, and it is. And then that, of course, everybody does this in Thailand. Everybody who has any game, who has any brains, knows how to speak a little Thai. You say, oh, well, do the girls in your province, or, like if it's Chiang Mai, you would say, oh, are Chiang Mai girls beautiful? Like you don't know. And of course she said, oh, yes, they're very beautiful. And, of course she's referring to herself, and I'm like, no, not you. I'm talking about everybody else. And she's like, yes, they're very natural. They're beautiful, naturally beautiful. So, you know, somebody's trying to call me right now. I don't know why. It's probably for the dentist. I don't need them to call me and remind me. You know that? I really hate that about dentists and doctors. If I don't want to come, I'm not going to come. If I want to come, I'm going to come. Simple as that. You know, and they don't need to remind me. I can remember. Maybe other people forget, but Scotty don't forget. Anyway, so, you know, she was talking about how beautiful it was and how naturally beautiful the women are. That's all. But what I was saying to the other girl was that, and this is how I feel, that like when you look at Bangkok and you see how beautiful it is, you know, and it's a little bit dangerous if you're not careful compared to Nakhon Phanom, which is very, I don't know, it's a little city. It's a nice little city, you know. The area that I was in, the city part of Nakhon Phanom, is not nearly as dangerous as where I was in Bangkok. So, you know, I'm like, you're like from the tame area of the country. I was kind of teasing her about it, you know. Anyway, that's my social interaction for the week. That's about it. That's about all I'll interact. Anyway. What is this? Gennaro in Love. Gennaro in Love. I don't know. Is Gennaro in love? I think Gennaro's in like. I don't even know if he's in lust. He's in like. That's Preo. Yeah, she's very cute, very nice. She's always been extremely polite to me and everything. There was a time in the beginning where Tian was a bit standoffish to me, and then, you know, I think at this point, you know, some of them, they may worry, you know, but when they first met me, they probably thought, you know, like some Thai girls are like, oh, this is Farhan gonna hit on me, is he gonna go after me? And, you know, I'm not, listen, I'm not Brad Pitt, I'm not Leonardo, I'm not I'm not Ronaldo, where these girls, if they saw me, they'd be dropping like flies. So, you know, they're like wondering, what is this guy, you know, is he gonna like try to say stupid things to me? Slowly they got to know me, and now, you know, they've known me for a few years, so now I can play around with them a little bit, you know, and they don't freak out. But, you know, I talked about once where I was with an old guy. He had just moved to Thailand, and he didn't know really anything about Thailand, and we're sitting there, and he really, you know, he was like, oh, this Thai girl is so cute and so sweet, and she's so nice serving me my food. I mean, so then she comes over and he grabs her hand, and she freaked. She just went, you know. Maybe that's who it is. I don't know. Setting the mood for you and one of these girls, or all of them. And he grabbed her hand, and she was like, eh. And the other day, I don't remember where it was. But some guy kind of like, he put his hand on the girl's back. She was standing there trying to show him something. She was standing at the counter trying to show him something. And he put his hand on her back like, oh, thank you, or whatever. And the girl just went, huh? You know, she was like, what the fuck? They don't like people touching them when they don't know them. You know, there's a way to do things here in Thailand. And that is, and I say this even with the girls in the bars, you let them touch you first. You do that anyway. It doesn't matter where you are. I don't care if it's in America or wherever. You let them touch you first, because if they want you, they'll let you know it, you know. What was her name, the one you were chatting to? That was Preo. Preo is the one that kind of lighter skin. And the one over to the left was Tian, and she's the one who's married and got a baby. Yeah, you always let them touch you first, man. Because, you know, then you know, like, hey, I haven't done nothing. You want to touch me? It's on you, girl. You know? Listen, a lot of times I do that with my wife. I'm like, I'm not hugging you, I'm not kissing you, I'm waiting for you. You're gonna, like, listen, I just don't want to, you know, I don't know. It's not about rejection. It's not about any of that. It's just like, hey, listen, like most guys, they're up for it whenever. As long as the girl is good looking or decent looking, most guys are up for it whenever, however, they're not going to say no. A lot of guys aren't going to say no, especially if they look really good. So then why not, like if they come to you, then it's like, all right, it's on. Whereas if you go to them, it's kind of like, you come off as a perv. You come off as a sicko to some of them, a dirty old, and like somebody like me, it's like, oh, you dirty old man. You're old enough to be my grandfather. Ugh. If a Thai girl ever says to you, Papa, she ever calls you Papa, run. You say my Papa. Oh. Hello, Papa. I know guys who the girls used to come up to them, Papa, oh, how are you? And they were banging them. And I'm like, you want your girl calling you Papa? Oh. I mean, it's not even like, oh, give it to me, Daddy. No, that's not how it is. A loom, yeah. Anyway, you don't want them calling you Papa. Oh, I mean, come on. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's like a girl who goes, I never. Well, you have now. It's like, you're my first that give it to me in the ass. You're my first that I swallow everything. I don't know what they're doing right now, but they're engaged in some. But this is how they are. They're like, no, I'm a good girl. Okay, you're a good girl, but that doesn't mean that you don't want to get, you don't want the pipe laid down. They're always so, the thing is they're always so sweet and loving and innocent. And, just because they're doing all kinds of stuff in the sack with you doesn't mean they're still not sweet and nice and kind and all these other things. It just means like maybe, some she gives me fever. Some Thai girls are very much the type that are very nice, listen, I met a girl once on an airplane, and she was a little bit older than me. And this is when I first came to Thailand. She was in Chiang Mai, and she flew down to Bangkok, and she said, you should come up and stay with me in Chiang Mai. I said, well, and I mean, I hadn't done anything with her. I said, so where am I going to sleep? Oh, you can sleep on the sofa. And I went, nah, I'm not going to sleep on the sofa. She goes, okay, no problem. You can sleep on the bed, but we don't do anything. I said, okay. Within 30 minutes, not even that. It was like, I go in to take a shower, I lay down on the bed. Cannot. Can. And I didn't say a word. You know what I mean? I just took a shower, came in a pair of shorts, and she's telling me, no sex, no sex. That happens all the time. My favorite trick, and I guarantee you guys should implement this. If you want to teach them English, well, if you're ever here, you want to teach them English, you go, oh, no problem. You come to my apartment and I keep the door open. No problem. And maybe we watch some TV, speak English. I teach you English and everything. After a little while, they're like, hey, close the door. And then you close the door and then it's on. Never met a girl that wanted to learn English. Never met a Thai girl that wanted to learn English that also didn't want to get have a little fun, if you know what I mean. I don't know what they're yapping about. It's about money. They've all been here for a little while, though. I mean, they've been here for a couple years, 3 years. I think Tian's been here 5 years. Preo, I think, has been here 2 years, 2.5 years. So they've all been here for a little while. They have a little seniority. They know a lot of people. You know, it's not a bad job. They could be driving a Grab motorbike, you know, or making deliveries. Must wait till after my birthday. I never heard any of that. I never hear about the superstitions. The only thing I've heard is about ghosts, and that never affected the bedroom. The bedroom activities. The bedroom gymnastics. Although I have heard a few that have talked about ghosts, but, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean. Tequila. I can't drink any tequila right now. But she didn't because she was asked to work. Well, you can't blame her for that. We all got to eat. Then rented a room for this weekend instead, 3 weeks later. Yeah, see, I don't believe in all that bullshit. I will say this, the more farm girl they are, the more village girl they are, it seems to me that if you get a good one, I mean, you know, I'm talking about a good one, like she's not, you know, whoring in Pattaya. She'll be extremely good to you in every way. Yeah, but I mean, you know, that's something that, I mean, even with Western women, that shit works. You tell them, I don't want any sex from you, and you know, a lot of them be like, why not? What well, I'm not sexy. I didn't say you're not sexy. I just don't, you know, come on, you know, it's like it's not important to me. I don't really care, you know. I once told a girl, this is a little bit too much. The girl, she was a very, very she was very sexy. She had a great body. She was a little bit of a model, we'll say. You know, like a part-time model. And who are you? Not my waifu. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you somebody we know? Anyway, she was very, very attractive, and I asked her out. Now, I didn't think I was getting anything from her. I didn't even think of it. Oh, okay. All right, man. And so I take her out to dinner, and when she shows up, normally she would be dressed very, very sexy. She shows up for dinner, and she was like, she looked like, you know, like, imagine like a pilgrim lady. You know, everything was covered up, and I actually laughed. And I said, you know, nice dress, but like, why are you dressed like this when normally, you know, I'm like, do you think like I'm gonna get so turned on by you that like I'm gonna like do something? I'm like, I was like, please don't make me laugh. And she was like, oh, no, that's not what, I just, you know, I like this dress. And I was like, that's bullshit. And she put out. But took a little more work, but, you know, it was a long time ago. When you get old, you know, little memories pop in your head. And remember that girl with the pink polka dot and the little pilgrim's hat and the blue dress down to her ankles? And you're like, what the fuck, man? You're wearing hot pants the other day. Now you come out with me and you're wearing a blue dress down to your ankles. But then the devil wore a blue dress. Isn't that how the song goes? Anyway, we're getting a little silly and carried away here. You know, I know we only like the good girls, the sweet, kind girls, the virgins, yeah. Well, you know how the Filipinos are. Oh yeah, I'm virgin. Yeah, my ass is virgin. Everything else, no, I'm not virgin. You know. I mean, you know, like I think Preo is 22, and I think what's her name? Teen is like 27, and I think Beer is like 23 or something like that. You know, listen, how many girls do you know that are like 23, 24 years old and they never got, you know, they never had a boyfriend or they never had a, you know, sex. Be like cuddling and sleeping together. God, you sound like a chick, Sasha. Listen, I don't really care about it as much. I mean, I've already had enough in my life where I'm content. And while, you know, the whole, you know, cuddling, I almost feel strange. You want to cuddle? Spoon me. Let's cuddle. I almost feel strange saying that, really, but I understand it. But you know, it's the thing is after a while, once it's like not a new thing to you anymore, and it's you know, it's not a big deal. You know, when you get older, it's kind of like, hey, listen, there's other important things too, like sleep. You know, how many times as a young man have you guys, you know, met some chick, you really into her, and you're like, oh my God, and you go back to your place at like 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock, you've had a few drinks, and all night long you can't get to sleep because she's so hot, and you're like, oh my God, I gotta get it as much as I can, and then at 7 o'clock in the morning, you're like, shit, I gotta be at work at 8:30. That happened to me all the time. Now it's more like, you know, me and my wife will go, let's go to sleep. All right, sounds good to me. You know, because after a while, you're like, we can do it any time. Oh, God. Well, I drank. I don't drink much now. There you go, Gennaro. I didn't forget you. It's all for you, Gennaro. All that's for you. Well, once you learn that you saying you want to, a lot of times they'll say, you know, it's the whole doing opposite of what you say. If you say to them, really, nah, not now. Nah, I don't care. I just want to go sleep. It's like, then the next thing you know, you can't keep them off of you. But if, you know, it's like, oh, you know, we need to. We're going to, let's go back right now and let's knock it out. Now, sometimes the girl might go, okay. But a lot of times, you know, you meet some chick and you're like, she knows that that's the first thing on your mind. Unless she really wants it, you're out of luck. Whereas if you're like, nah, it's not a big deal, you play it cool, not a big deal. I think the boss is not here today. They're all getting a little crazy. They're like boxing with each other. You never got blue balls. Well, that's very good, Sasha. That's a little too much information. Oh, God. I need to know you first, Hannah. Listen, when I first came here, I thought that they, like, were saving it for marriage. That was just, 25 years ago, 26 years ago. I thought they all wanted to save it for marriage. And then I was like, who the fuck are you kidding? And, there was a girl that used to work at the beer garden on Soy 7. So come with Soy 7. She worked there, and I don't mean she worked outside the bar. She wasn't a prostitute. She was a chick that worked behind the bar. She was a bartender. And man, I used to go there all the time. This is before I lived here. I would go there all the time. And all I heard was how her and her friends, they were all good girls. They were waiting for their man. They were waiting to find somebody that was right for them. And, the only sex they know is what they see on TV and occasional porn. And I'd be like, what? What the fuck? No way. And then one night I was out, and one of the girls was in, like, she went with a couple of her girlfriends to Nana Disco. It was supposedly the first time they'd been there. She worked she worked behind, she was a bartender. And I used to buy them, like I'd buy a couple, there'd be like 3-4 girls, and I would buy them flaming B-52s and all kinds of, shots of tequila. So I got to know them. And then she went to the Nana. She went to the disco with her girlfriends. She saw me there. One of her girlfriends goes, she's pushing her. Because, she knew I liked her. She's pushing her and pushing her and pushing her. Finally, the girl goes, okay, let's go. And we went. And I was like, okay, cool, Here I am thinking, and I'm thinking she wants this full-on relationship. And she's like, no, I don't really want a relationship. I just want to know, you come all the time, and I see you, and I don't know, maybe we can be friends, and, and I'm like, friends? I don't want to be friends. She's like, I know, but, like, special friends. That's where I started learning the whole special friends thing. We can be special friends. I'm like, special friends? Okay, I guess, whatever. If that means I can be special friends with other people, then that's cool. I was a little slow when I got here because I had to learn everything on my own. I didn't have anybody to teach me. Until one of my buddies said to me, listen, there are some of them that when they walk through your front door, they will start calculating everything that you have in your house, in your apartment. They'll go, computer? Oh, there's $25,000. Oh, laptop? Oh, there's another $30,000. Sofa? Oh, that's $25,000. Oh, he's got a nice watch. There's $60,000. They start calculating it. I was like, no. And then I watched. I brought a couple back to my place, and I watched them a little bit. And you could tell they were kind of like, oh, this is very nice. Oh, ooh, very expensive. Oh. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's it. She's the calculator. She's doing the calculations, So, But listen, I hate to talk about all this stuff because who knows when you guys... Yeah, I guess it's true. It's not just the Thai girls. But who knows when you guys will be allowed back here, Sad but true. I don't know why. I mean, who knows what's going to happen with this economy here, economy in the United States. I don't know. 2020, the year of the Chinese turd. It's not year of a tiger, it's not year of the rabbit, it's year of the turd. Because that's what China did, the Chinese government. They dropped a big turd on the world. Yeah, I'm glad to be here too. Very glad to be here. I get my kid out of the hospital, get him back home. They start going to school, and supposedly school is fine. Things are pretty much back to normal for me here. Aside from not being able to ship products, ship any goods out from Thailand to the United States. you know, and people being able to come into the country. It's not going to get normal again. And my thing is, how are the governments going to keep afloat? What are they going to do? You got to build in, you know, now there's no, you can't see it. But they've knocked down part of the, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see. Shit. You probably can't see it very well, but they basically knocked the overpass. There used to be an overpass you could just drive over, and you would see the mall on the left or the right. And they've knocked it all down to make way for the SkyTrain. So they're still building. There's still funds to build this. Will they finish it? I don't know. What's going to happen when they finish it? Are they going to have money for people to pay the people who are operating it? I mean, I haven't taken the SkyTrain or the subway since before the COVID. Yeah, but at some point, even though they're private funds, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to continue. Who knows if it's done in phases or, you know, I don't know. Isn't Starbucks open elsewhere in the United States? Aren't they still open? Really? Starbucks isn't open anywhere in the United States? Are you kidding me? Oh, you have a I don't know about the Texas chicken. There you go, Gennaro, another one. I don't know about Texas chicken. I really don't eat at Texas chicken. Oh, shit, man. Why they can't fix their table. Yes, it is behind me. I just don't eat there. I don't know why. Sometimes I eat at Banchan, but I think the allure of Banchan is worn off now. When you start building, everything else you invest is lost if you don't finish. Yeah. Open here for drive-through and pickup. When your Starbucks are open. Well, New York, Texas, parts of Texas, Florida, Arizona, California, Chicago. Jesus Christ. Have you seen that Chicago mayor? I don't like to bring up looks, but Jesus Christ, she looks like Beetlejuice on steroids. I mean, what am I thinking of? Not hormones, estrogen, like excessive estrogen or something. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean, it's like reversed everything to where she looks like maybe it is testosterone. She kind of looks, she's hideous. I don't know. I don't know what the mayor's name is. I can't keep up with all these mayors. The guy in Portland who got gassed. I mean, you know, it's just ridiculous what's going on over there. This is kind of like Starbucks is the friends of Thailand. It's the Friends coffee shop of Thailand. What's the Friends coffee shop? What was that? What was the hell was the name? I never watched that show very much, or I didn't watch it very much. I don't know. I haven't talked to him for a couple days. Central Perk, okay. Mayor Lightfoot, ugh. Mayor Fugly. That has got to be the fuggliest. I mean, listen, like I said, I don't think I'm super handsome or anything, but man, she is fugly. And she's a public servant. I would think that she could take a little better care of herself. That's one fugly ass woman. Now, I have a video coming up, and it's pretty funny. the Thai girl who I'm talking to, I'm basically interviewing a Thai girl who works at a noodle shop. And she's speaking English to me. And she says, I was showing her a video of these lady boys dancing. And she said, oh, he come in and eat. I mean, no, she come in and eat in here yesterday. No, not she, not he. I said, you mean in the middle? Yeah, she said, in the middle, yeah. Oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. She said, yeah, in the middle. Not he, she, not she, in the middle. Anyway, I think it's about time to go. Much talk about nothing. I won't be streaming tomorrow, I don't believe, because I'll be with Nicholas. I'll be with him later today, and hopefully he'll be better. I'm assuming he'll be fine. He should be out of here. I'd say any time between Monday and Wednesday he'll be out of the hospital. But I need to find out how he's doing this morning, which I'll do as soon as I get done streaming, so I need to go. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for Lori Lightfoot sounds like yeah. Oh, she is one ugly. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, that's about what happens. I see that, and there is no showing. It's all Mr. Limpet. Yeah, I hope he gets better too. It's painful for me to watch him and to watch Alex, and you know, Alex is like, they're really good kids, man. I mean, you know, Nicholas was very, very good to Alex when he was sick, and Alex, you know, Alex brings him his blanket and tucks him in, and gives him water, and he really is a good kid, you know. Yeah, exactly. Fuck your feelings. Oh, demonetize. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't monetize this stream. Fuck your feelings. It doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. If more people remembered that your feelings are not really important. What's important is what you accomplish, what the goal is, why you're doing something. That's what's important. It's not, well, I feel like, these people, they're hurting my feelings. I don't like them because what they said to me. They make me feel sad. You control your own feelings. Anyway. I'm so offended and I'm sad. Oh, God. All right, one last little joke. Nicholas does not like bananas. He hates bananas. Always has. I don't know why. I'm like, they taste good. So yesterday when his schoolmates came in, and there's like 30 people, 25 people sitting there on the floor around his bed. He's kind of nodding in and out, but they're coming in and giving him donuts and little cupcakes and just M&Ms and all kinds of stuff, right? So somebody brings him a banana, and he looks at the kid, and he's just like looking at him. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and then he goes, he did that on purpose. I said, what do you mean? He knows I don't like bananas. And so all the kids in the class were kind of like looking. And I said, I said in Thai, Nicholas doesn't like bananas. And what Nicholas told me is the reason he doesn't like bananas, he says, is because he's not a monkey. I don't like bananas. I'm not a monkey. I don't know where he got that from, why it makes him feel like a monkey, but it does. In the morning, I had leprosy. Nothing happens. Anyway, lots of fun. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for all the support. And with that, Sasha, I'm offended that you're offended, so get offended. I'm exhausted by all this offense. Little hair. You're triggered. I'm triggered by you being triggered, and then you're triggered by me, and then I'm triggered again. I saw a little sit down between Ted Cruz and Alyssa Milano, talking about a machine gun and an assault weapon, AR-15, and the differences, and she doesn't know her ass from a hole in the wall. I mean, she may be a nice person, she's trying to be nice, but man, I don't get it. I hear the monkeys are starving in Thailand because of no tourists. Well, that's pretty true. Not all the monkeys, but the monkeys where they're supported by the tourists and they're given bananas, yes, they're fighting for every last scrap they can get. What are you gonna do? That's why you don't feed the monkeys. That's why you don't feed the animals. And they're nasty little critters. Don't get me started on them, the little bastards. They're nasty little critters. I don't like them. I don't have a problem with them. They can be in their little area, but when they start coming over to me and putting their little stinky fingers inside my pockets and, you know, trying to get my camera from me and something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go to Lopburi now because I don't want to have to deal with them. They're ground rats. They're ground rats they're rats with fingers, you know, like full-on fingers. I missed out. Sorry, Gennaro. They pick coconuts too. I don't know if you've seen that in the news. They're calling the coconut manufacturers abusers of animal abusers because they use monkeys to pick the coconuts. Now, if they put two orangutans in a ring and told them to beat the hell at each other like they used to do, and they may still do, fighting in Muay Thai, that's kind of abuse, you know, because they wouldn't normally do that. You're using that for your own financial gains, however meager they might be. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to stream from the crocodile farm, and I'd like to see some guy stick his head in a crocodile and he actually gets bit on a live stream. I think that would be pretty cool. Hopefully the croc will release his grip and we can see the blood coming out and all that. And the guy will casually walk away and go, thank you, thank you. And he'll walk away as blood's coming out. But that place is pretty nasty. Yeah, I know. That would be pretty gnarly if the guy stuck his head in there and the croc grabbed his head and started spinning, and ripped his head off right there in front of all the crowd. That would be pretty bad. Anyway, let's keep this positive. We don't want to hear about crocodiles doing what comes natural to them. So I'm going to go. Thank you very much, everybody. And until next time, Chok D, Jerk and My, all that good stuff. Okay? So please click thumbs up, click like, share, join the YouTube, what is it? The YouTube, what do they call it? It's the sponsorship, membership. Hit the join button down below. Whatever, you know. Buy a t-shirt, yada, yada, yada. And hopefully I'll be on my way to this next journey in the next couple of weeks. And I should have a video up in the next day or two. We'll see. Anyway, until next time, Chok D and all that. So, adios, arrivederci, au revoir.